backseat. Black Cadillac daddy with a hoe up in the backseat. Hoe up in the backseat. Black Cadillac daddy with a hoe up in the backseat. With a hoe up in the backseat. Black Cadillac daddy with a hoe up in the backseat. Hoe up in the backseat. Black Cadillac daddy. Black Cadillac.
What the fuck?
Black Cadillac daddy. Black Cadillac daddy. Black Cadillac daddy. Black Cadillac daddy.
Hey, what's up everybody? Smiley with Parallel Defense. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Today we have something really big I want to talk to you guys about, and that is going to be the Springfield's new pistol, the Echelon. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Coded Arms. Thank you guys for helping me track this pistol down. I've been looking for one. I've had it now for about a couple of days, and I'm super excited to review it. I have a lot to talk about. So let's jump right into it. First and foremost, I bought this pistol on a recommendation. I have a lot of close advisors, and I had never held the pistol. A friend of mine, One Tap Samurai, you can check him out on Instagram. He suggested this pistol. He went into his local gun store the day it released and said that he tried it out and told me, he was like, Smiley, this is something you need to check out. So with his recommendation, I went ahead, started searching Coded Arms. They're out of Houston. They helped me figure it out and find a way to get this pistol. And when I got it, I was just wowed. It was like there was so much to talk about. I went out the first day and put 200 rounds through it just so I can give you guys an initial review, an initial thought process, like, hey, this is what I think of the gun. Like I mentioned in other videos, I'm going to do this thing early on where I say yes or no. Right now, as it stands, yes, this pistol is a phenomenal gun. I would get it. I'm going to go ahead and do a deep dive right now and kind of go into and explaining a little bit about the pistol so you can understand what's going on. So let's talk about the very first thing that wowed me. The first thing that jumped out to me when I got the pistol was the grip texture. My goodness, Springfield couldn't have done it a better job. I believe this is a kind of mirror grip texture of the Hellcat series. It's somewhat of a reverse stipple is the best way for me to put it into words. If you know what a stipple is, when you're stippling, you're burning something into the plastic that gives it that grippier text. This is almost a pattern sitting directly on top of the grip. It is very very similar as well as a silicone carbide or grip texture, grip tape. That's what it feels like on the grip. And they put it everywhere. There's some places that I don't believe it has a functionality. Like on the guide rod, they have it, but it's everywhere. And there are some places that are gonna be not noticed by everybody because if you don't teach, you wouldn't get it, right? Most people have different hand sizes. One thing they did on this that I thought was super nice was they put the grip texture on this shelf right here, which we'll talk about, but they also put it on the takedown lever. So if you're not familiar with that shelf, it's called a gas pedal to some, to others they just call it a shelf. It's for when you're gripping the gun to allow you to kind of push on there. And it's kind of beveled in with the texture, which is super nice because it allows your thumb to sit there perfectly. Why I like it on the takedown lever so much is if you're somebody that has small hands, normally when it's time to get that grip, some people will over torque their hand just to get their thumb in that reference area so that they can utilize that shelf. Well, Springfield made it really easy as putting the texture here and back here on the takedown lever. The takedown lever is also beveled in, so it kind of gives you just about almost 100% like copycat of that shelf on the takedown lever. I thought that was super innovative, super smart by Springfield. They thought about the people at that point. That's one of my biggest pros. Next, we're going to talk about the slide serrations. The slide serrations on this are ridiculous. Not only is it extremely aesthetically pleasing to see it, they also put a lot of time into placing them. So you have your front serrations, which if you're a press check guy or you're like me, I like to clear my malfunctions out up front. They make it very easy for you to do that. Due to the deepness and the sharpness of them, they're very nice to grab on. They're very grippy. Some of the other pistols I own, they're grippy, but not nearly as grippy as this. So like my CZP-10, they're very sharp, but because they're right next to each other, I've slipped off it before. I'm not slipping off of the front serrations on this at all. Something else I noticed what they did to the front and the back is they went kind of deeper in the metal and gave you somewhat of notches. So the only other gun I've seen do these similar notches is HK, and I believe Walther has a couple of pistols as well. The cool thing about the notches is if you have like small hands, when you start talking about racking it from the front, some people won't come all the way up here. Some people don't feel comfortable having their fingers that close to the barrel. So you can do it back there on that notch. Or if you're a pinch and pull type of person, that notch is kind of flared out on both sides to allow you to pinch and pull with no issues. It's not like you would say a Glock or any of the pistols that are perfectly lined up that some people could slip. So I thought that was another amazing function they added to it. Slide serrations 10, grip texture 10. I cannot complain about those at all. There's literally no cons to either one of them. Let's start talking about the backstraps. So If you guys are familiar with shooting right now, a lot of people are wanting this, what they call palm swell. It's kind of an extended back strap that flares out a little bit and allows you to get more of your hand on it. And it feels slightly thicker, but it just allows you to drive the back of your hand into that part of the gun more in feel. The Echelon comes with 3 back straps in 3 different sizes. I just have the one that it came with on there right now, and I can feel a difference versus, let's say, a Glock or a SIG. It's very nice, and the fact that you can adjust it again. Springfield not just looking at one consumer, they're looking at people from all sizes and all hand types that are probably gonna grab this gun. So the back straps was super awesome idea. We're gonna go ahead and drop down to the trigger now. A lot of people, just so you guys can see, because I haven't cleared it out yet, my gun is cleared out, there's no ammunition, and now it is rack safe striker forward. The trigger's made out of polymer. A lot of people complained about that, but later when I go into my cons, I'll give you a pro on why it being polymer is very nice. But we're gonna talk about it straight out of the box. It is a flat face trigger. That is what the industry is going towards. More people prefer a flat face than your traditional curved trigger. I love it. The trigger's nice. I said it was about 4 pounds before, but I'm getting anywhere from 4 to 6 on my trigger weight. I'll go ahead and show you guys, like I'll roll some clip if you guys see me get it. It's about 4, but kind of really in the 5 area, but it doesn't feel like that at all. And then the reset on it is butter. Like the reset is right there. It's almost like you're not even bringing your finger forward to get it. So that helps a lot when you're talking follow-up shots or prepping your trigger or even just shooting in general. When you're getting to that reset, it's not a far distance to travel. There is a little bit of sponginess in the beginning for your first shot, but an experienced shooter is gonna squeeze right through that. It's not an issue. Trigger, 10 out of 10. No issues with the trigger either. So right now, again, reiterating, this gun is a buy as of right now where we're going with it. But Springfield decided to, push the envelope even more and add more features in. So their optic system is extremely innovative. They're using a variable interface optic system. What happens, right? So first and foremost, it's a multi-optic system. When it comes with the RMR pins in it. I don't know what they're actually called. Post, I think that's what they're actually called. It comes with the RMR post in it, so you can put any RMR footprint optic on there. But in the box, you have the Delta Point Pro post as well for you guys to add in there, and then they also come with the Shield post as well. The cool thing about this system is the way that they explain it. They have a video, it's an ingrain of them explaining it. When you have it on a typical post, they're kind of just sitting in the optic, and sometimes depending on who cut your slides, they may not be the right size for that optic. So apparently there's a point of impact shift. I've never seen it in any of my optics, but I'm not an engineer either at Springfield to elaborate on that. But what Springfield is doing essentially is they have 2 posts, and when you put the optic on, the posts clamp down like that, kind of clamping into the optic a little bit, which is really, really cool, because if you don't understand how optic systems work, you want to take the most amount of recoil reduced or recoil amplified stress off of the screws. So if you guys have an optic cut and it just have the screws, you're putting a lot of stress and pressure on just those screws. And if those shear off, now you have to get your slide fixed, and that takes a lot, costs a lot. You don't really want to deal with that. So with this system and having it clamped in there, one, you're not going to have the point of impact shift that Springfield talks about, but you're also taking a lot of pressure off of those 2 screws. So I thought that was extremely innovative. Real quick con to that, for us closed emitter guys, I have a 509T with the ACSS reticle here. You don't get that benefit. Just the way that these plates are designed, it has nothing to clamp onto, so you're kind of still just relying on the screws. So am I working backwards and against myself? Yes, but just know if you're running a traditional optic, an open emitter, you have that benefit too. The system nonetheless is phenomenal. Now let's start talking about the internals. This works on a very similar system like the SIG 320. The SIG 320 has an FCU. This has a COG, a central operating group. Again, moving over to that modular fashion like the rest of the industry is wanting to do, you can pull the entire COG out, and I'm sure coming here soon, you're gonna see a lot of aftermarket stuff coming for that central operating group, where you can just drop it into different grips and do as you please. Again, innovative. That is super nice. Also, if you're not familiar with it, when you do that, that allows you guys to send your grips, send your slides to people to get work done without having to send it to an FFL, because the serialized portion is on that receiver on the inside, that COG. So people like One Tap Samurai, I'm going to shout him out again. He's phenomenal. Check him out. He does amazing grip work and slide work. You guys can go check him out to see. I'm super excited for the aftermarket for this. You guys will be seeing videos 1000% whenever they start dropping aftermarket stuff for it. Aside that, as far as the functionality of the gun, it is a super soft shooter as far as recoil. The gun is designed very, very well. When you're shooting it, it feels like you're shooting a modified Glock 17, something that was tuned already, and it's right out of the box. Like right now, 9 minutes and 28 seconds into the video, I'm sitting here telling you, this is the best striker fired out of the box currently. Obviously, the pistol has not been out long enough. A lot of people haven't shot it enough to see what mechanical issues you could possibly run into in the future. But as of everything, as the way stuff sits right now, it's perfect. But those are all the pros I have for it. Let's start talking about the small amount of cons. I'm not going to give you guys one without the other. There are a couple of cons that threw me off, and I do want to acknowledge them. So one thing that I seen initially were these. The first issue was people were having issues with their 20-round magazine. So it comes with a 17 and a 20. People were loading these up all the way, and in the middle of shooting, the base plate would break off and yard sale. If you're not familiar with the term yard sale, it's essentially your gear just going all over the place. So if you loaded this with 20 rounds and you're shooting, let's say you get 6 rounds in, 14 rounds fall straight out because this right here breaks. That's an issue. And that's not cool for Springfield. That's not a good look at all. Another thing is these mags feel cheap. Like the actual texture of them, they feel flimsy. They don't feel like they would hold. I guarantee if I was to step on one right now, it like just kind of put my weight on it, it would bend, and that I don't like either. So that's not the best thing. I'm sure they're gonna release new magazines eventually, but that's an issue. Again, when we're talking about MSRP for this pistol as well, the MSRP is $679 off of Springfield's website, so I'm sure you can find them for like $650 or less now. Eventually, I guarantee you the aftermarket price will go up, but Springfield had to save money somewhere. Here's where they saved it at. That was one thing. The second thing, and this is not a problem to me, but I have seen other people complain about it with other guns like the FNX 45 Tactical, where you have flex in the grip. If you push down on this hard enough, you will see it flex. That's just polymer pistols. I think my Glocks did it. I don't have an issue with it. I've never seen a functionality problem. I've never squeezed my gun hard enough that it deformed the grip. So I don't see that issue. But again, saving money is what Springfield tried to do. They put an affordable pistol out there for us. Whenever the aftermarket comes out there, if the grip was your only issue, you can get an aftermarket grip. But again, that is a con to some people. They're not going to like that. And the only real con that I identified that I was not a fan with is the slide catch, slide stop, or slide release. They're tiny. And not only are they tiny, they're flat. So when it's time to engage them, awesome. And I typically don't have this problem with any other pistol. When it's time to actually grip them, my hand is sitting on this. So now I have to adjust my grip and move my thumb slightly further out so I don't hit that whenever I get to slide lock. That was the only other issue I had. Again, that's a training deficiency. I can train out of that, but now I have to train out of that for this one specific platform. None of my other guns I have an issue with. So that is the only negative thing I have about that. But besides that, the gun is awesome. I highly suggest you guys go get one, go shoot one. This right here is the future. SIG did great. This is gonna be the Glocky-ish gun without being a Glock. This is the most similar to a Glock without it being a Glock, and it has more features than a Glock. It's the future. Right now, I'm not a major fan of 320s. This beats the 320. It beats the 17. It beats the 19. It beats the Zez. It beats a lot of guns. I'm just saying. Just my opinion. But that's it for my initial review. I am going to do another 1,500 or 2,000 round review eventually. You guys will be seeing me shoot this on Instagram a lot. This is probably going to work its way into my carry guns for certain situations. I definitely enjoy this gun already, and I'm only a couple days in. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions ever, you guys know where to reach me. Put a comment down below. Let me know what else you would like to see about this platform. Give me questions, give me ideas, shoot. If not, thank you guys for watching. Y'all have an amazing day. I'm out.